She's looking in his camera and she's being very commercial, trying to sell this cocoa to everybody that's watching. Hey there, welcome back to Script and Sip. My name is Jessica, and if it's your first time here, welcome. So today we're going to be talking about The Truman Show. I've never seen this movie before. I remember talking about it with my coworker a couple of weeks ago. She was saying, have you seen The Truman Show? And I was like, no, I've seen clips on it on Facebook. And she was like, you gotta watch it. It's like really good. So I watched it, and actually it was very enjoyable. And I'm going to talk about it with you guys. So basically the show is about, it's a reality show that follows Truman Burbank. Just so happened his last name is Burbank, California. Okay. And he thinks his whole life is real, but everybody around him is fake. They're actors. One thing that I really enjoyed was like every time he was getting closer to like a truth of something, chaos just happened. When he ran into his dad, that's when like this guy and like they whisked him away or whatever. And then when he tries to follow, all of a sudden all of these runners just came out of nowhere. He's trying to get through of runners, and then he runs into this guy who had like all these papers and stuff. And then there was another time he was trying to get to he was in the hospital trying to get to his wife, and a nurse was running like, oh wait, like how can I help you? I'm gonna see my wife. And she's like, oh, she's in pre-op. When the nurse runs away or walks away, he follows to the doors, and then next thing you know, you see like a gang of wheelchair people rolling up on him. Literally just rolling up on him, wheelchair. It's okay. And then this guy with this big old thing is trying to get, it was just like chaotic. I wanted to talk about this one scene when they did like a high school flashback of the girl, I think her name was Sylvia, did a high school flashback of him noticing her, and apparently I guess she was just an extra, but he noticed that extra. They noticed it, so of course they're gonna shift his focus away from her. And so the friend, I don't even know what the friend name was, but the friend was like playing the trumpet and trying to play the trumpet in his face. And then next thing you know, like Meryl, she falls on him, and that's how they meet or whatever like that, which I find was kind of interesting because like in the beginning of the movie, he was trying to find Sylvia, because like he went to go to Fiji, and I was like, that's kind of an odd place to go. Why Fiji? But because that's where Sylvia's dad said they were gonna go. Back to the high school flashback, Sylvia, they're at like this dance. He notices Sylvia again. They're in the library. He talks to Sylvia, and Sylvia's like, I can't talk to you. Like, this is dangerous. I cannot talk to you. And he's like, why? Is it because of the blonde girl, Meryl? Like, and she's like, let's just run away. She took him to like this beach, and they have an intimate moment. She's just like telling him, like, she started blabbing everything like, this is not real, none of these people are real, like this is about you, it's like a show and stuff. And so she was like, they're gonna be coming soon. And then next thing you know, her dad pops up, and she's like, I don't know this man, I've never seen this man. I feel like people do this a lot, where they try to make a person look crazy. They're like, oh, she's just crazy, like she's off her meds. She does this all the time with all her boyfriends. She's been all her boyfriends here. She's schizophrenia. We tried everything, shock therapy, we tried it all, and it's just not working and stuff like that. And Truman's like, what? I mean, I get it, it's like a whole bunch of information that's like going on in your head all at the same time, but it's like, whoa. So then the guy takes her away, we don't see her again. But Truman just cannot let her go, because he's like, this is my true love right here, okay? I need to be with her. I want to talk about when he saw like the snack table and some of the people that was part of production, when the lady was getting on the elevator and they didn't close like that little door, and he was like, what in the world is that? That really raised more suspicion for him. Because even when he came into that building, the officers were like, okay, hey, sorry, can I help you? And that would be another thing that I feel like it would be so suspicious to me, was like, this is very odd. So when he was trying to go to Chicago, he got on the bus, and the bus driver looked at the man, and the guy was like, basically just go with it or whatever. So they all just sitting there. The extras are sitting there and looking extra stiff. The little girl was getting ready to blab it all, because she was like, mommy, isn't that? I'm like, shh, be quiet. No. So he's just sitting there in the back, and then it's like, they're just sitting there. And the guy tries to start the bus, and it's not starting. The engine stalls. And it was so funny to me. And so everybody's just sitting there, and he's like, all right, everybody off. And everybody just like gets off. And so Truman's just sitting there, and the bus driver's just like, I'm sorry, son. And to me, I was like, he's saying he's sorry because you don't know what's going on. To me, that's how I'm gonna take that sorry as that. So then he gets home, and this is where he tells Meryl to get in the car. She gets in the car with him, and he's like, there's going to be a guy that's going to walk by with flowers, a woman's going to ride her bike, and there's going to be a yellow beetle that's going to drive by. Boom, everything happened. He was like, it's just like they're on a loop and they just keep looping around and doing the same thing. She's like, if you want to go to Fiji for a few months, yeah, I think you should. Like, yeah, you should do it. And he's like, no, we're going to go right now. So he gets in the car. He's literally driving around. Like, he zooms off and he's just like driving around in this circle, just driving around. Then when he pulls out into a road, it's like all these cars all at once just came like right in front of him. And he's like, look at that. It's like, doesn't this look strange to you? Like, they just all came out. So then he's like, you know what, let's go to New Orleans. And so he backs back and he goes around and around and around, and then he pulls into the same street. No cars. He was like, no cars. They're just driving, and then there's like a sign that says wildfire or fire, dangerous, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like a fire just like whoosh up, and he just drives right through it. And she's like, oh my God, what about the sign? He's like, oh no, we're gonna keep going. Whoop, drive through it. And then next thing you know, there's at a nuclear plant, there's a what did she say, an explosion or something that happened or whatever, where it's like, oh, road closed. And he was like, and she said, is there anything I can do to help? And the officer was like, no. And Truman was like, thank you. He said, yeah, you're welcome, True. And he was like, basically like, how did you know my name? How did you know my name is Truman? I don't know you, but you know me? And he's like, oh yeah. So he gets up and he's out the car and he's just running. He is gone. But then they end up catching him and they bring him back. They go back home, and the wife is like, thank you so much. And she was like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And she tried to make it seem like he's having a nervous breakdown at this point, because he's like trying to talk to her and she's not even listening. She's like talking about the cocoa, and she's looking in his camera and she's being very commercial, trying to sell this cocoa to everybody that's watching, all the viewers. And so he's like, who are you talking to? Are you even listening to me? And she keeps going on with the ad. And so then she's like, you're scaring me. You're having a nervous breakdown, all this other good stuff. You're not well. And then she grabs like this slicer, I don't know, peeler thing. And she's like, and then he grabs it and grabs her. And she's like, do something, talking to the camera. And this is when he's just like, yeah, I know something is up now. I know something is up. So then like the friend comes over, she breaks free. They're in the living room at this point. She breaks free from Truman and runs down. She was like, I can't do this. Like, this is unprofessional. This is unhealthy work conditions. I can't do it. The friend is like, it's gonna be okay. And honestly, the friend is obviously everybody's in on it, but I just kind of felt like he probably should have put 2 and 2 together with the friend as well. And I think he did, because when the friend was like, just every time he was talking to his friend and he wanted to like tell him like some people are in on this thing, or I want to just leave and go somewhere, like I just want to do more. The friend was always trying to talk him out of it, like, you should just stay here. And of course he's doing his job, that's what he's supposed to do, but it was kind of like, what kind of friend is actually going to tell you not to do or follow your heart or your dreams or whatever you want to do, As they are sitting at this like bridge thing or whatever, him and a friend are talking, and Christoph, who's the creator of the show, is feeding him the lines. And I was like, of course you didn't. Of course. This is all improv anyway. So he's feeding him lines, and then next thing you know, he turns around as the father, and then you see this like fog. It was like so dramatic. And you see this fog and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, Dad. And they just embrace each other. But also when he was sitting there talking, when Truman and a friend was sitting there talking, Truman was literally looking at him like, you are in on it. And you're sitting up here telling me you're not in on it. And if you were in, like, I wouldn't lie to you, but sitting here telling him lies. And I know Truman is like, you're lying to me. It's just like the way that he was looking at him. It was like, yeah, he knew that you were not who you say that you are. And and of course he was just doing it all for show. Because the whole hugging of the dad thing, yeah. I don't think I thought at first Truman fell for it, but as I got there, I was like, yeah, no, I don't think he fell for it. The next day he's like back to his normal self. So everybody is good, right? Meryl ended up leaving Truman, and they was gonna bring another love interest, and we found that out through the interview that Christoph had did. And I want to talk about that interview, because during that interview, Sylvia, she ended up calling in, and she was basically saying, you took his life and you made it into a mockery. And Christoph says, like, well, if he's so determined to know the truth and he wants to leave, like, he can do that, that is something. I'm not keeping him. I mean, he can go if he wants to, And I'm like, no, we know. Come on now. And so basically, Truman was legally adopted by a corporation. I was like, what is that actual thing? Can a corporation actually adopt a child? Just an awful way to live, you know. And they making all this money off of him, and he ain't seeing a dime. So yeah, like I said, he's back to his whole old self, his normal routine. Because apparently he moved downstairs after Meryl packed up her stuff and left. He's downstairs and he's sleeping, so they think. Kristoff comes in and he's like noticing. He's like, oh, zoom in on him. And so it's like he's just sleeping. He never moved or whatever. But there was a time that he did move, and you didn't see it like that, you know. He stuffed his bed with like stuff to make it seem like it's him. So then it's like he snuck out. They sent the friend in, and the friend is like trying to see. They opened up this little closet part, and he had made a hole. He was gone. Truman was gone. And they ended up finding him. Like everybody, they sent everybody out, like extras, principal roles, production crew, like everybody is trying to find him in their city or whatever. And anyway, they found him at the sea. And this is the part that I was just like, this man has gone crazy, because he really could have killed him. He is afraid of water, but Truman was out there sailing. They was like, why is he out there and he's afraid of water? And so Kristoff was like, let's make it a storm. And so he made it a storm, and he was like, increase the winds. I'm like, that's like, you could drown this guy. And when he said, he was like, do it. I'm like, so you want to drown this guy? And the guy was like, one of the guys, he was like, can't die on TV. And the guy was like, well, he was born on TV. I'm like, that's not the same. Being born is something, being happy. Dying is something sad. Anyway, this man didn't care about his life. And so when Truman went up under the water and stuff, he was kind of tied to the boat. They made it all bright and sunny again, and like there was no storm ever happening. And he was able to he sailed on or whatever, and then he hit the wall. And he was like, so he hit the wall again, and so he looked around. It's like, oh snap, this is all fake for sure. And so he ended up finding, and it said exit. So he was getting ready to exit, and Kristoff was like, I'm going to talk to him. So Kristoff ended up talking to him like God coming through the clouds and the sky and the sun. And so he's talking to him, basically telling him like, you can't leave this show. Like, being here is safe. Being out there is scary. Like, the world is full of lies. This right here is where you need to be. Basically, to me, it came off, I interpreted that you're not going to be nothing out there. You won't be able to survive out there. Nope. But Truman decided,
in case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Gave his last final bow of his performance and walked out. I know, that's why I say yes, Truman. Yes, which made Sylvia so happy. She put on her coat. She went downstairs. I guess she was going to him. I was like, I guess you know where you going. But everybody was cheering for him, like all the fans. And the guy in the tub, he did it. And I was like, everybody is so happy except for obviously the production. Because now, what are you going to do? The Truman Show is over with. It's over with. I really enjoyed that movie. It's like big brothers are watching and you have no idea that they're watching, because you think that you think you're not on the show. You think this is your reality. And Truman, he figured it out. Good for him. I wish there was a Truman Show too, so I could see like a follow-up, because it was actually a good movie. I really did enjoy it. Jim Carrey is just a good actor. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the movie. It's a really good, lighthearted movie. I just love the chaotic scenes the most, because it's crazy. It's like when he tries to get something, it's like all this stuff just like in your way, and you're just trying to push through. It's kind of like, if you want to think deep into it, probably not too deep, but it's kind of like life when you're trying to get somewhere, but you have all this stuff that's blocking you from trying to get to where you're trying to get to, and you just keep pushing through until you can get through it, and then next thing you know, it's clear. Okay, but anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for joining me. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.